Aloha champions! Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. Today's math lesson is Math 6.2, Area and Perimeter of Composite Figures. A composite figure, like I've drawn over here, is when multiple squares and rectangles combine together to make a new shape. Our objective is that scholars will calculate the area and the perimeter of composite figures. Okay? So, part one, figuring out the perimeter of a composite figure. I have this shape here that is 8 yards across up top, 12 yards down, an unknown number down here, 3 yards on the side, 3 yards here, and an unknown number here. As I've said before, perimeter is if you find a start point. So if I start at corner A or angle A, if I trace around the outside edge, how long would it take me to get there? And the easiest way to do this is, even though it's a composite figure and it has more than length, width, I can still just add up all of my sides. So I've color coordinated all of my sides. My blue line is line AB, pink is BC, yellow is CD, and I can add all of them up to find my total perimeter, okay? So, starting with what I do know that A to B is 8 yards. So here my blue, AB is 8 yards. My pink here, B to C, that's 12 yards. C to D, I do not know yet, so I'm gonna leave that blank. I'm gonna skip to my red here, D to E, which is 3 yards. E to F, same as up top, that's 3 yards across. And my green line here, A to F, I do not know. So I need to figure out CD and FA. And we did this in the last lesson, figuring out unknown lines. So let's start with my green line, FA. That is parallel to my 12 yards over here, but I have to take 3 yards away. So F to A would be 12 minus 3. 12 minus 3 is 9. And lastly, D to C, that's parallel to my top, which is 8 yards plus 3 yards. So 8 plus 3, that's 11 yards. Now that I have my lengths for all sides, I've figured out what my unknown sides are, I can add these all up together. So if I just group these together, like so, I have 20, 14, and 12. 4 plus 2 is 6, 20 plus 10 is 30, 30 plus 10 is 40. My total perimeter for this shape is 46 yards. Okay? So now I want you to practice, and it might be easier to do this in the math workbook. This can be found on page 131 of your math workbook. But I have kind of the sideways staircase shape A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And I want you to figure out what the total perimeter around the whole length of this would be. Adding up A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F, G, G, H, and H, A. If you need to pause the video and draw this on a separate sheet of paper, you can, or in your math workbook. And I'll give you some time to pause. All right, bringing it back to this composite figure, finding the perimeter. I want to start at point A. A to B is 16 plus 13 plus 13. 13 plus 13 is 26 plus 16. 6 plus 6 is 12. 10 plus 20 is 30. 30 plus 10 is 40. from A to B is 42 inches. B to C runs parallel over here in A to H with this bracket, so it's 12 inches. C to D, this green line here, that runs parallel to the top, so that's 13 inches. D to E, parallel to this side bracket, so that's 12 inches there. E to F, parallel to the top, 13 inches. F and G over here is equal to 14 inches. G to H is 16 inches. And H to A is, if I add all of this up, 12 plus 12, 24 plus 14 is 28. 38, I should say. 38. So now add these all up, and when I add them all up, I'll get the perimeter of the shape A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay? 2, 4, 7, 9, 12, 16, 22, 30. Put a 0 here in. Carry that. 30, 40, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 160. So the total perimeter around the shape A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H is 160 inches long. That's adding up all 4 sides, even with all the indents, to make sure that I'm going the right way and adding it all up. Okay? One more practice for perimeter of a composite figure. This can be found on page 132 of your math workbook. We have this kind of half H, missing the bottom corner here. We have shape A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and we need to figure out what the total perimeter is. Take a few moments to pause the video and work through this problem. All right, so just like I did before, I'm adding them all up. This time I did not color coordinate it, but I want to make sure all of my lines are accounted for. So I'm just labeling all the lines I see here: A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, E to F, F to G, G to H, H to I to J, and J to A. When I'm labeling my lines, the first number I'm starting with, if I read from left to right, goes in the left, or top to bottom goes in the top. And I want to make sure that I finish up, including my last line, J to A, for the shape, because that's all what you'd have to traverse to find the perimeter. So these are in feet as our measurements. A to B is 3 feet. B to C is another 3 feet. C to D is not defined, so I don't want to put that down just yet. D to E is parallel to BC, so that's going to be the same length. And I skipped over D to E, so I'm going to throw that down here at the bottom, make sure that I have that included. I'm saying D to E is 3, E to F is 3. F to G is parallel to this 8 feet, but I'll need to come back and do some math there. G to H is not listed, so we'll come back for that. H to I is listed as 2 feet. J to I is listed as 10 feet, but J to I is only a portion of that. And J to A is 8 feet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that I need to go back and make sure that I have. So C to D runs parallel to J to G, more or less. So 10 feet down at the bottom. From A to B is 3 feet. From E to F is 3 feet. So 3 plus 3, that's 6 feet. And C to D will be the difference. 10 minus 6 would equal 4. So C to D is 4 feet. F to G runs parallel to AJ, which is 8 feet, but we take away the 2 feet for HI, so 8 minus 2 means F to G is 6 feet long. G to H is the same as C to F, so C to D is 4. E to F is 3. 4 plus 3 is 7. So I can plug in a 7 there. And lastly, I have I to J. So if I subtract 10 feet minus the 7 feet, I to J is parallel to AB, so that is 3 feet. Now that I have a total, or I have all my sides figured out, I can add them all up to get my grand total, which will give me my perimeter, the time it takes to go around the shape. Okay, so quickly add these up. 6, 10, 9, 9, 11, 3. 11 plus 9, that's 20. 19, 3. 20, 19, 3. Add those all up. 3 plus 9 is 12. 10 plus 20 is 30. 30 plus 10 is 40. The perimeter of the shape is 42 feet. Now we're moving on to part 2, which might be a little easier, a little less time consuming. We are finding the area of our combined shapes. So if I have a combined shape where I've got this, what I do is I break up into 2 separate things. I know that I've got a clear square here where it's 4 by 4 and a clear rectangle here that's 8 by 2. If I do the area of my rectangle plus the area of my square, that will give me my total area. So area again is length times width. So my 8 times 2 here, length times width, gives me 16 square inches. And then I find the area of this square down here of 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And to find my total, I add up the area of those 2 shapes. 16 plus 16, 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry a 10 into my tens place. 10, 20, 30. My total area for this shape is 32 square inches. Okay, got 2 practice models for finding the area of these composite shapes. First one we have this L shape, and I've broken it up into 2 squares. This is found on page 137 of your math book. I've broken it up. It's not broken up in your book if I can remember correctly, but we have this section here, which is 3 by 3, and this section, which is 8 by 6, but you need to take away that A. So I'm gonna do this one. The next one I'll have you do. If you want to pause the video, you can pause it now. But what I'm doing is I know that area of A plus area of B will equal my total area. A is the square of 3 times 3, length times width. 3 times 3 is 9. So the area of A is 9 square miles. B will be 8 times 6 minus 3, 3. So 8 times 3 will give me the area of B. 8 times 3 is 24. And so if I add 9 square miles plus 24 square miles, that will give me 33 square miles for a total area of 33 square miles. Okay. Last problem for today's lesson. You have this C shape. It's probably not broken up in your workbook on page 137 into these 3 spots, but I've broken it up for you. You've got 9 meters up top, 8 meters on the side, and this indent in here, and you need to figure out how much total area it covers. Take a few moments to work through this problem. You may pause the video. All right, for this, I've broken it down into 3 rectangles or squares, A up top, C at the bottom, and B here in the middle. First, I'm going to find the area for A, and the area for A is 9 by 2. 9 times 2 will give me the area for A. 9 times 2 is 18. Now I'm down to area B. Area B is 4 meters times my difference of my top line, 9 meters, minus this indent, 5 meters. 9 minus 5 is 4. So even though it may not look like it, the math shows me that this is a square of 4 times 4. And 4 times 4 gives me an area for B of 16. Then I'm down here at C, which again is a 9 meter by 2 meter rectangle. We've already done 9 by 2. It's the same as A. And that gives me 18. Now if I add up all 3 of these, that will give me my grand total area for this shape. So 8 plus 6 is 14. 14 plus 8 is 22. Put my 2 down here in my 1 spot. Carry my 20 into my 10s. 20, 30, 40, 50. The total area for this C shape is 52 square meters. Okay? So that wraps up this lesson. For your assignment, you have page 139 to 140 in your math workbook. And for the 4 composite shapes, you need to find the perimeter and the area of those 4 composite shapes found on page 139 to 140 in your math workbook. Thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.